there, med students. It's your friendly neighborhood doc here, and I wanted to do a retro initial assessment on a book that I never read before. I've had, I guess, about 25 years to read this book, and yet it flew under the radar. I never really appreciated it, and I had the opportunity to pick up the first issue the other day for a song. So let's go ahead and look at Meridian, issue number 1 from CrossGen Comics, written by Barbara Kesel with art by Josh Middleton and inks by Dexter Vines, colors by Michael Atalia. This is one of the first CrossGen books that actually came out, and to me, it appeared too childish at the time, which is kind of funny, seeing as how one of my favorite books that they put out overall was Scion, and Jim Chung's artwork is also youthful and exuberant and full of energy. So it is funny how this one swept under the radar while Scion turned out to be one of my favorite books of all time. Anyway, I want to say, for those of you who have never picked up a CrossGen book before, it's heavy. It's got some weight to it. The production values are slicker than most of the things that you were getting from Marvel and DC at the time. The artwork was absolutely gorgeous, well thought out, well composed, and most of all, the story also hit on all cylinders. It's a tale of two cities, because you have, let's see. You have Turos and Ilion. So Turos is the father of Sephi, the main character in the book, and Ilion is her uncle. And he is the Lord Minister of Catador. And something has happened to this world as the story goes, and the cities all float now. They float above the land where they used to stay. And there seems to be an imbalance of power with some of the elder gods in the universe. And this is one of the books that came out where you first saw the sigil, the CrossGen sigil, what would become something that would tie in. Originally, their plan was to tie in that whole universe of books together with this sigil, and all of the sigil bearers would have a part to play. And they kind of moved away from that, eventually building out each world on its own, while remembering, as necessity called for, that the sigil was a sigil of power, protection for the bearer. And so the colors are just because of the production value, the colors pop in the story, and it really brings it to life. But as you go through here, you learn that Sephi has to come of age. She has to become so much more than what she thought she could be at this age. She thought that she was carefree. She was in love with one of her flight mates, I guess you would say, if they were, since they were up in the air. One of her constituents now. But she found, through this first issue, a chance to grow up, a chance to be something bigger than what she had been before. And it's a story about, like I said, a tale of two cities, of growing up, of empowerment, of learning that you have such a greater destiny than you ever thought was possible before. And through that, I think that Barbara Kesel and Joshua Middleton and Dexter Vines and Michael Atalia and everybody else that worked on this book and worked on the CrossGen universe created something very, very, very special. And it should seem, through the beginning to now in this video, but I'm going to definitely give it an A. because in this retro initial assessment, I'm glad that they continued this series, and I'm glad that all of the CrossGen books got almost 4 years worth of life, because they had a certain place and a certain time. And I think that may be why Marvel/Disney has not really put a concerted effort to try to bring some of these characters back, or bring the original creators back onto these characters. They tried a half-hearted reboot of 3 of them of the series as miniseries, and of course they didn't fly because they didn't really promote them all that well. They didn't push them for the people that really enjoyed CrossGen. But I would definitely recommend this if you are a fan of fantasy, adventure, a coming-of-age story, any of these, and I would say go hit the back issue bins and find this for like $1 or $2 like I did. And I want to say Meridian was one of the longest lasting titles. Scion ended at 43, Meridian ended at issue 44. So if you love this story, I know that the creators changed. Joshua Middleton was only on the artwork for the first 6 issues. But I mean, just what an amazing storyteller he was. And still is. It's not that he's passed, it's just that he doesn't really do a whole lot of comics anymore. He does a lot more with Hollywood and storyboarding and things of that nature. So, but like I said, not only, and that's Scion by Ron Mars, Jim Chung, Don Hillsman II, and Cesar Rodriguez. Great production value, amazing book. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm actually going to try to track down the next 3 or 4 or 5 issues so that I can get more immersed in this world. I've still got the Solace books I have to read, but I only have issues 3 through 7, and it's an 8-issue series. So I've got to go back and reread those and then pick up issue 8 at some point down the line so that I can read the whole story before I give you guys an overview of that. But if you're too young to remember it, CrossGen was definitely a force to be reckoned with for the first 2 or 3 years. The stories were powerful, they just impactful, and more importantly, they were kind of like the Boom Studios or the, what else would it be? Image. You know, they were kind of... They presented different stories than what you would get every month with Spider-Man or with Superman or with Batman. They created characters that had interesting and unique backstories and characters that you would come to care about and appreciate more so than just any kind of superheroics that came. So, like I said, guys, I really enjoyed the CrossGen books, and I extremely enjoyed Meridian issue 1. So if you hadn't had a chance to check out CrossGen, I hope that you do it very soon. These books should be in the dollar bins. You should be able to find them relatively easily. And that is all I've got for you on this particular retro initial assessment. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great evening, and we'll catch you next time.